meet you. I'm Mark.
What's your name? What's your last name?
Mayor.
Oh, nice. An easy one.
Mark.
How are you? Jasmina.
Jasmina.
Yes.
What's your name?
My name's Steve Moy. My last name? Moy, M-O-Y.
Friends with my first name, Noy.
No, yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Married to Reality. It's the Married at First Sight edition. I'm your co-host, John, here with my wife and co-host. It's the one and only Teresa.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Woo! Shot out of a cannon over there.
You asked for it.
I said we got
asked for it.
I'm trying to fire us up after a long but fruitful week of podcasting.
For sure.
For sure is the actual number. For sure would have been yesterday below deck. Would have been a great pun. For sure.
You take it easy with your puns.
But yeah, this is numero cuatro.
Look at you.
For our international
Spanish.
Our international listeners. Yeah, this is 4. And we are here. No other way I would rather end the week than with a MAFS podcast. I feel like we have a lot to talk about with this episode.
Yes, we sure do.
A lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, I had to think about it for a second because of all the podcasts we've
What do
done.
you mean? Oh my God, I couldn't stop thinking about this
No,
episode.
it definitely was a shit show. Especially thanks to one person in particular.
Yeah.
You wanna say his name because I'm pretty sure we are on the same page.
No, I'm gonna hold off because as soon as I say his name, it's gonna set me off, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna say it.
No, why would you say? Let's wait.
Okay.
Because as soon as you mention it, it's gonna take us down a rabbit hole. I don't even know. Like, what kind of wife are you over there trying to set me off? What kind of woman are you trying to upset me right now while we're podcasting? Okay, have you cleaned even? Have you cooked yet? What do you do? Can you even podcast? I think check off some of your chores before you sit down here and talk about a TV show. Calling yourself a wife and a woman over there.
I would divorce you.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would respect you if you did that. We'll get into it, guys. Woo! See, I'm fired up already. Before we do, you gotta follow us on social media at Married to Reality Pod on Instagram. So much is happening over there. It always is. And you're making it happen. You're messaging us. You're commenting on the memes, on the news. It's interaction. We love it. We love communicating with you guys. So make sure you follow us at Married to Reality Pod on Instagram and join the fun.
Join the fun, guys. And
Whenever you hit me with an and, I'm like, I don't know where this could go. It could go 10 different ways. Take it away. Tell us where it's going.
I was gonna say, and let us know how you enjoy all our pods. Send us a message because we put out a lot of content and we'd love to hear from you. Give us your feedback. Tell us what you think. If you watch our new edition, the Below Deck Sailing Yacht, let us know, guys.
Yes.
Let us know what's going on. Let us know what you think. We love it. We love hearing from you.
Look at us being content creators.
For sure.
Yeah, let us know. We love hearing from you guys. Also, make sure after you're following us on social media, follow the podcast wherever you're listening. So easy to do. Just look down and smash that follow button.
Guys, smash it like it's as hot as the sushi boat that MTS and Lindsay were sharing.
I was startled by the look in your eyes as I was leading you into that because you looked like you had something to deliver. And you did.
I always do.
You did.
I always do.
The sushi boat was hot.
I've been to a
That was
sushi
a sushi
restaurant.
yacht.
It was.
Shout out to Below Deck.
I've never experienced so much sushi.
Oh, you've never partaken in a sushi yacht before?
No. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I usually just dabble. I'm not the biggest fan of sushi. I have my favorites. But
I think the biggest amount of sushi I've ever seen was at your sister's wedding. They had a lot of sushi during the appetizers.
That was
Remember?
delicious. That was
a lot of
delicious.
sushi. Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, it was a venue on the ocean, so it actually was fitting. But that was delicious.
Yeah.
That was a lot of sushi.
There was a lot of sushi. That's what I'm saying. When I go to a sushi restaurant or when we go, you get 5 pieces.
It's more like when we go to Fresh Market and we get sushi.
Or
We get 8 pieces. Yeah, that's
That's
what
how
we're used to.
fancy we are.
That's how fancy we get. $5 Wednesdays at Fresh Market.
That's very true.
Right?
Sprouts.
It's Fresh Market too, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't go there. I go to
Yeah.
Sprouts.
All right. Anyway, so you're following us on social media. You're following the podcast. One last thing, if you haven't, if you could leave us a review, it means the world to us. And a lot of you guys are, so thank you. I know I ask every time, but it's the nicest thing you could do. It's the most helpful thing you can do for the podcast is to leave a review. So if you haven't, a rating, a review, it goes a long way.
Very true.
All right. Should we get into this episode?
Yes, let's do it because
Season 14, episode 9.
I have a lot to say.
All right, let's start with Noi and Steve.
Let's start with this scavenger hunt.
It's a scavenger hunt that would take me 3.5 weeks to complete, I think.
It's a scavenger hunt that would disappoint me because,
Because Noi is the big treasure at the end of the
yeah,
hunt.
like give me something else.
Just sitting there swinging.
Yeah, give me something else. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, she should have had something.
Like have a cake
Have a cake,
or have I don't know, a noodle platter.
have a noodle platter.
Like well-cooked noodles.
A properly cooked noodle platter. Sure.
Make me a crown out of a bamboo.
Right.
Shout out to 90 Day.
Have a job offer for Steve
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
waiting. Have something. But I don't know how this guy, Teresa has something.
Best idea ever.
Okay.
The scavenger hunt should have ended at an interview for a job.
Yeah.
Imagine, that would be amazing.
We kid. We give Steve a lot of crap. I'm sure he's doing fine and sure he'll freelance at any point now. At any time, I'm sure he'll pick up a freelance job.
yeah,
but-
we hope he's doing fine for Noi's sake and his own.
Yeah. My issue with this scavenger hunt was the clues said, go to a tree and you'll find your next clue. Like you're in a park in Massachusetts. There's 9,432 trees. How did this man ever complete the scavenger hunt?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure there were more clues.
Yeah, like follow the cameraman. Mm-hmm. That would be a clue. Look
But,
for the other production team filming Noi. Oh, there they are.
Again,
That's the clue you
the
need.
results, disappointing.
Lackluster results.
Right?
Lackluster. But Steve loved the effort. He appreciated the thoughtfulness. It was an adventure. Steve loves adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So points for Noi.
Yes, points for Noi. That was definitely something else, something different.
It was thoughtful.
It was thoughtful, but it wasn't thought through.
Yeah. There's a big difference, folks.
Right?
Yeah, it was thoughtful. It was not necessarily worth the effort, I would say.
No, or it could have been if there was a reward.
Sure. We don't know what happened back at the apartment.
Okay, well,
You know?
she should have said it so we knew.
Keep some things to yourself. So new day, it's assignment day, right? This is the episode where all the couples get homework. They get questions from the experts and they have to work it into conversation and find the answers.
I totally forget about the experts because they don't appear anymore. PC showed up, okay?
Yeah.
Dr. Viviana's doing this little small talk. Where is DP?
These questions just show up at the door like Dr. Pepper ran, dropped them off, knocked at the door and ran away.
That's
It's
literally what I just pictured.
Yeah, it's like DP, show your face. Maybe lay some ground rules for these questions. Let's have a conversation, Dr.
Yeah.
Pepper. I hope you're okay. Are you okay, Dr.
Or
Pepper?
let's do the questions in front of the experts.
Yeah, we need some guidance here.
Yeah, they're doing it in front of a camera, so who cares?
Yeah, there's
Right?
such a
Right?
lack of expertise
Exactly. Well
on
said.
this season.
Well
and,
said.
And no wonder these couples are dropping like flies. Where's the professionalism?
There's no guidance.
Zero guidance.
You put two strangers together. What do you expect without guidance? They're gonna go wild.
And yeah, it's not very successful.
It's not Love is Blind.
This is not Love is Blind.
All these shows just doing whatever.
Whatever they
do
want
what
to
you're
do.
supposed to do.
Yeah, the whole idea is
Guide.
you have a process, you have experts.
Yeah, that's why you sign up for it, because you're trusting the experts. If you don't see them, then okay, well, who put us together?
I'm telling you, I think they see how these relationships are going and they are hiding because they don't want to be responsible for anything that's happening right now.
I mean, some of them might be successful.
With a little guidance.
They need the guidance, exactly.
Okay, let's get to the questions. The first question is, have you been in love before? Okay. Noi says she thinks once.
Which I was expecting her to say like 5 times based on what she was saying, that she flew to Europe for a boyfriend and she moved to California or so, or Boston.
Also based on her saying she loves Steve on the second day of the honeymoon.
Yeah. So I was expecting a fat number from Noe, but hey, Steve has the fatter number.
He goes, yeah, several times. He can't even put a specific number to it. There are so many times. He's like, I guess if I round it up, 7, 8, 9 times, several times.
He said 5.
Well, Noe asks how many times, because we're all wondering. Several times. I mean, that seems excessive. 5 times. 5 serious relationships, he says. And he goes, I think I loved each one of them. Now, that 5 serious relationships for a 38-year-old man that's maybe on the higher side
Well,
of
what
average.
do you consider a serious relationship?
Saying
Living with someone?
No, saying I love you, I think, is serious.
That's true.
So 5 times. He's not 22. He's 38. So that's not crazy.
No.
If he started falling in love when he was 18, that gives him 20 years. That's an average of 5 relationships a relationship every 4 years, 5 total. See how I did that math? See how I worked through that? I think that's doable.
I mean, it is doable. We know people who are in a serious relationship every 5 months.
No, I know.
So,
But I'm saying this is believable and could actually be love. Noe is concerned a little bit by this because here is a man saying he's been in love 5 times. Noe has confessed her love to him and he's hesitating to say it back. So she's sitting there, I think, going, wow, he's been able to fall in love several times, but he hasn't been able to fall in love with me yet.
let's not forget they've only been together for 3 weeks.
Oh, I never forget that.
Oh my gosh.
But I think that's her concern. Oh, it's not like a guy who said, I have never been in love or I've only loved once. This guy seems to throw out the L word every few years, and here she is waiting for that to come her way.
How many times have you been in love? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Truthfully, 1.
Is that me?
Yeah. I think before our love, I may have thought I was in love, but I think it took me to fall in love with you to realize what love actually is.
Well said.
Yeah? Do I get my dinner tonight?
Oh, yeah.
And you're
Maybe something more.
And you're going to clean this place?
I love cleaning this
I know you do. I'm a very lucky man.
because I am deep inside, I'm a cleaning lady.
Yeah. You're an Eastern European cleaning lady.
I love cleaning.
I'm very lucky.
You know how I clean?
I'm not going to let Elijah on anywhere near you.
I saw a great meme. It said that in your 30s, you clean to the rhythm of the music you used to party to in your 20s.
Interesting.
It's so true. I always just do party music, my headphones, put a glass of wine if I clean after 5.
You really do turn it in 5 a.m., you're saying. If it's after 5 a.m., you're going to be drinking and cleaning. You do turn it into a party, and it makes me feel less guilty that I'm sitting on the couch watching some trash TV.
Oh, I sometimes make you do things, but then I have to keep an eye on you if you're doing it the right way.
Yeah, that becomes the whole thing. Well, let's move on. Okay. The next question is, what do you think it takes for you to fall in love? And Noe, kind of a simple answer, just having her partner show up in tough times. Steve's answer, for me, he says it's more feeling comfortable, and if I'm close enough with someone, then at that point, I'll say it. That's not the question, Steve.
Now I'm like kind of trying to figure out if he's ever been in love.
Well, you got to be in love to say you're in love, I would hope. Or there is the difference between loving and being in love.
True, you need both.
You need both for a healthy marriage, I would say. But the question wasn't when do you say it or what makes you say it. The question is, what does it take for you to fall in love? You need to fall in love before you could say you're in love. So he doesn't really answer the question.
True. What does it take you to fall in love?
Oh my gosh.
We're doing it.
Why are you putting me on the hot seat so much?
Well, luckily they all going to be asking the same questions.
Okay. So we can just get this out of the way now.
Yes.
And folks, I didn't ask Teresa in response how many times she's been in love because I know the answer.
Yeah, just once.
Just with me. So don't think I'm not interested in her answer. I just know, and I wouldn't put her on the spot for a question that I know the answer to. So the question to me was, what does it take for me to fall in love? Well, I only have our experience since you're the only
Tell
person
us.
I've loved. I think just me being happier around you than being alone. So
I like it.
I enjoy life more with you. And I'm a person who loves my privacy. I love my alone time. And I always have until I met you. And then life just got better by being with you, by being next to you. Like I physically feel better when I am next to you or when we're cuddling. This is getting a little cheesy, but it's the truth. You know? So I think that's what it is. It's just feeling better in your presence.
Yeah, I can relate. I feel the same because before I met you, I used to love being alone. Like sometimes I just didn't even reply to people's messages or phone calls. I was just alone.
Oh, ghosting. Got Casper over here.
Big time. And I still do it to some people, I'm sorry. But I'm not the best at replying to messages. Not to you guys. To you guys, I always respond. In general, that's what kind of is my issue. But yeah, and I quickly realized that being with you was just, it was okay being alone with you. Doesn't make any sense?
Yeah, we could just sit on the couch and not talk and
it was,
feel comfortable
it was
with each
just
other.
good. And this whole thing, like you were interested in what I have to say and you were interested in my hobbies and you started doing some of them. And same thing for me. You kind of introduced me to your world and we just matched. And plus we have so much fun together. We always have. And it keeps continue. It continues ever since we first met. And it just kind of develops. Like the feelings develop. Like I definitely felt love before we even said it.
Of course.
But, you know, we took our sweet times like we do sometimes. But it made it even more special.
Okay. We're talking a lot about our love.
Well, I just wanted to know these two questions. And maybe we wanted to share with our friends.
Sure. We're talking a lot about our love. When it comes to Steve and Noi is wondering if it's too soon for them to talk about love. Because Noi really wants to hear it in return. She's said it. She's come clean. She loves Steve. She wants to know, like, Steve, what's going on with you? Do you think you'll say it? Do you think you feel it? And he says, I think we're getting closer. That's really all he gives her is, I think we're getting closer.
But it's not bad. Like, you don't want to force something.
No, you want to hear it and you want to know it's authentic. The worst thing would be you say it and then you just get it in return as a reflex because what else do you say when someone says they love you? I guess I got to say it back. So you're going to value and respect and appreciate when Steve says it to you because you know he said it because he means it, not just because you said it.
No, absolutely. I cannot disagree more. I mean, I cannot agree more.
Jeez. How dare you?
I cannot agree more.
Good.
I wish I remembered the time we said it.
Oh, well, we were very intoxicated, heavily intoxicated, which comes as no surprise to our friends who are
But I
listening.
asked you the next morning and we said it again.
I doubled down.
Sober and hangover.
I doubled down on that love. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about Lindsay and Mark Deshawn.
MTS.
So things went awry last episode for them at the bowling alley, at that candlepin bowling alley.
I expected them getting divorced.
Yeah, I expected Mark to be like, fuck it, bring on the bed bugs. I can't spend another night with Lindsay. But somehow, some way, they're together in the shared apartment.
But Mark is not the one who's irritated. I mean, he slightly is, but he's being a polite shark, doesn't really say anything. On the other hand, Lindsay lets him know.
So I don't think, although we did see them sitting on that gross carpeted stairs and we could hear the yelling, but I don't know if Mark heard word for word what Lindsay had to say about his small salary and his small balls.
Well, if he didn't, he's going to.
When the show aired, well, now, and when he watches, if he watches. But I think maybe that's why Mark is so quick to forgive and go grocery shopping and cook dinner, is because he didn't really know exactly what Lindsay had to say.
Well, again, I think he probably heard.
Through the grapevine or through the walls?
Through the walls.
Okay. If that's the case, you wouldn't catch me dead in an apartment with Lindsay. Yeah, you're disrespecting me like that, not only in front of friends and producers, but in front of the whole nation. Mm-hmm. Come on. I don't think Mark's that much of a pushover. I have to believe he didn't hear it. I have to believe he didn't hear it or he wouldn't be there.
I also think that he wants to make it work, and he also knew that she was drunk.
Okay.
So not that it's an excuse, it's not.
No, I think
But he knows her.
I think a drunk mind speaks a sober heart. So if she was drunk and says those things, I think she truly believes them and feels them. You disagree?
Interesting.
I think when I'm drunk, I say the truth.
I mean, I would hope that you always say the truth.
I do, but sometimes I bite my tongue and I don't lie. I just don't divulge everything. When I'm drunk, you have a hard time kind of biting your tongue.
I wish I remember, because if you're drunk, I'm probably drunker.
Yeah, that's probably true. Okay. Well, Lindsay, yeah, she tells the camera she's wicked annoyed with Mark and she wants him to apologize for hurting her feelings.
They have this like awkward chit chat while eating dinner. Like, what did you do all day? Work. You? Well, how have you been? Good.
Yeah,
Like,
one word answers. It was Mark trying.
Oh, for sure. MTS was trying hard.
He was also trying to grind every last bit of pepper out of that pepper grinder. Did you see him?
No, I did
He's like,
not.
He did not stop grinding pepper onto his plate.
I think he was just awkward and nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the most amount of pepper I've ever seen. Dr. Pepper. That's it. Okay, he's the new Dr. Pepper. Forget DP's absence. DP's probably like, well, I can't show up now after this guy's clearly taking control of the Pepper title.
Yeah, I don't think Mark the Shark can really help anyone.
No.
Maybe with the pepper.
Heavy on the seasoning over here. Okay, so they're doing the little small talk. Mark's trying. Lindsay, not so
Yes.
much. And Mark goes, I'm pretty good at bowling. And Lindsay's like, you? No. He's just trying to lighten up the conversation, have a little small talk. And Lindsay's just like, no.
Like, she was really being kind of rude. Like, I get it. Like, she wanted to vent. But, girlfriend, what you did was way worse than whatever you think Mark did. Right? Because Mark was like, so do you feel like you were out of line last night? And Lindsay's like, absolutely not. It's like,
Oh my God.
what? You were so out of line.
Yeah.
So out of line.
She needed bumpers, shout out to bowling alleys, to keep her in line.
And then she goes on and on and on about everything that annoys her, asking for affirmation and kindness from Mark. I feel like he is giving her, if anything, kindness is definitely one of the things.
Well, the thing she's upset about, she calls Mark a Debbie Downer. And I don't understand where that comes from, other than maybe she wants Mark to keep up with her partying and her drinking. And because he's not a Debbie Downer, he's not saying like, no, let's not go out, let's stay home. He's just not butt chugging Budweiser with her.
Well, she also says that there are two Marks. There is the camera Mark and there is the no camera Mark. And apparently those two are two different Marks. Right? He tries when the cameras are around, and then when the cameras leave, he changes, which I don't see that.
Well, it's because you only see one side of the camera.
Well, true, but I don't know. Why would you change immediately when the cameras leave? I don't think these people are actors and actresses. I don't think they can really play a role.
No, it's not playing a role for the camera. It's playing a role around other people. And it could be the cameras as much as it is the producers in the room, because the cameras aren't there. They're not drones. They're not just flying around unmanned. There's other people in the room. And we all are on our best behavior when there's other people in the room, whether it's in line at the grocery store, at dinner with your parents, at work. You act differently when you're around other people. So to me, that's not even a red flag. That's just human nature.
I wouldn't call it you act differently. I would just call it you are aware of your surroundings. So you and I, when we are alone, we can joke and we can call each other funny things. We can use words we would not necessarily use around, let's say, your parents, right? But when we are around your parents, that doesn't mean that my behavior changes. I'm still being me. I just make sure that what I say is appropriate.
Well, let me tell you what I think it really is with Lindsay. She says she's super upset and she's switched her off switch on. Mm-hmm. Okay. What I think she's responding to is the lack of physicality. I think she is upset that they're not having sex anymore.
How do you know?
Well, Mark, in so many words, has said he's pulled back, right? He said it on the honeymoon. I want to kind of take our time and not be as physical. And that set Lindsay off after they banged 3 times, apparently, on the honeymoon. And what made me feel this way is when Mark goes, look, I'm not trying to argue with you. And Lindsay responded by saying, you're not trying to do anything with me.
That's a good thought.
I think if he threw it in her, then it would be a completely different dynamic. She would be satisfied sexually. She would feel validated and loved. And that would be it. And maybe that's the Debbie Downer, is like in the bedroom, he's a Debbie Downer.
Possibly, because she also said that she feels very unhappy, but MTS said, well, me too. So we're on the same page here, right? But yeah, that could be it.
I really think that's all she's looking for is some sex, some intimacy, because it'll make her feel better about herself and the entire situation. She goes on to continue to bash Mark, and she says, your life is in chaos. You're not even aware of it. And she feels like she's been putting Mark first for weeks, but she needs to now be put first. And she goes, last night, I finally thought we were having fun, but then I realized that's not you. That's Mark on camera. And it sets him off. And here we go again. I think it's all about control for her, because she just wants to do things her way and get validation for it, get credit for it, even if it's not what's needed in that situation. She says, during all your bullshit, I think you deserve my kindness and support. Or she gives her kindness and support. But to call it bullshit, to call what he's going through bullshit, which is what? His apartment, his mom. Like, she's dismissing that and then trying to get credit for the kindness and support she's giving.
Yeah, I don't think that she understands where he's coming from. Even like him pulling back and all that, I don't think she understands why. And he told her it's because everything that's been going on, you being kind of crazy, you getting into all these fights with other people, like I'm uncomfortable.
It's a turnoff.
It is a turnoff. And I don't think him even verbally expressing it, I don't think she fully takes it in.
No, that's why I'm saying I think it's all Lindsay all the time. It's impossible for her to see another side of the argument.
Yeah. Well, she goes bold and she's like, so what do you like about me? And she's like, it doesn't seem like there is anything. And Mark gave a really nice answer. He's like,
was it really nice?
For the circumstances, he's like, I think you have incredible love inside of you that sometimes is hard to show.
Yeah.
But you have a tough exterior. What's not nice about that?
Well, Lindsay took it as an insult.
Well, Lindsay is a little crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think deep down inside, that is what matters. That's the real you. And he is saying that there's love buried
because
inside
if he didn't
you.
think that, he would not be there. A lot of guys would not be there. A lot of guys would have left.
We have a show to shoot here. Easy.
Look at Chris and Alyssa.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying some people aren't going to throw in the towel that easy because there's a show being filmed here.
True. But I could also, we've seen couples on Mavs who did not like each other at all. They sucked it up, but they were just fighting and arguing. It was horrible. Mark is trying to make this work.
Yeah. I think Lindsay is the type of person who does one nice thing, like feeds a cat or helps you move out of your apartment and she thinks she's the greatest person of all time.
Speaking of the cat, that crazy looking cat was behind them half of the time.
I know. I had to tell you to be quiet because you couldn't stop talking about the cat. I'm like, I'm trying to watch the show and take notes.
It has a wild tail and wild head.
I kind of like the cat. I
can't take it.
I don't know what's wrong with the cat.
What kind of a cat is it?
I don't know. Call in if you guys know what kind of cat it is.
Exactly. I know some of you have cats. What is that? Is it a regular cat with a bad haircut? Or is it like an exotic cat?
It's unique.
It is. I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm saying it's wild.
Okay. All right.
You know that I use wild as awesome?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but what is it? What kind of a cat is that?
I don't know.
Is it one of the cats you can just pick up by the garbage?
No.
And give it a haircut?
No, I don't know. Did it have a haircut or is that just the way its tail
I don't
grows?
know.
Okay.
I don't know a lot about cats.
Okay.
But guys, let us know.
Let us know. Let's move on. Let's talk about a new night when they go out for dinner. And Lindsay, well, no, they didn't go out for dinner here. This is when Mark cooked for her. And this is when they do the assignment. I thought this was
You're
the sushi.
skipping ahead.
I thought this was the sushi
You're
night.
too
No.
hungry for the sushi boat.
This is where Mark cooks for her once again. And here we go with the assignment. Have you been in love? And Lindsay says she has. Different versions of love. High school sweetheart, transition into adulthood, living together, and then the guy she thought she would marry and move to New York for.
Wasn't that the guy she was engaged to, literally, who quit the wedding 5 days prior?
That's probably likely.
Because I was expecting her to bring it up. Because I feel like that was a big deal for her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, she's been in love, different variations of love throughout her life. Mark says he has been too, but then he kind of just rambles on about not being able to move on from past relationships. He says, I can't totally move on. I keep looking to the past and thinking about the past and thinking about what I had. And it's this mentality of you don't know what you got until it's gone, which makes Lindsay nervous because she doesn't recycle men, she says.
Yeah, she literally used the word recycle, which that's not what Mark said. He didn't say, oh, when I break up with someone, I want to get back to them. I think he said the feelings continue, and maybe sometimes I realize what I had a little too late. Doesn't mean that he wants to get back with that person.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a terrible thing to reflect on your past and appreciate what you had. It's perhaps immature if this is a continual thing that happens. You need to stop and go, wait a minute, let me learn from my past instead of just reflect on my past. Let me learn from it and start to appreciate in the moment what I have.
Yeah, there is a difference between looking back at your past and dwelling.
Yeah. I think Lindsay, she looks at it as, oh, Mark just doesn't want to leave his comfort zone. He likes routine. And so he just wants to stay with his exes because that's what he knows.
Yeah, she should have looked at it in a way that, okay, he had multiple relationships. They didn't work out. He might have loved all the girls. He might have realized what he lost afterwards. But all these failed relationships made him do what he did. Made him sign up for Married at First Sight because he wants love. He wants to be married, right? Here we are. Here you are, Lindsay. So just take it as a positive thing. Now you have Mark the Shark. Because if he was happy and it did work out with one of those girls, he wouldn't be here.
No, I get that. I get all of my failures brought me to where I am today. But I think from where Lindsay's sitting, she's going, okay, he's in a relationship with me, but is he thinking about his ex? Is he thinking about his last relationship? I think that's her concern. It's not necessarily all of the past and how he moved on from it. It's, did he move on from it?
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like in the normal world, when you don't get married at first sight, right? When you start dating someone, a lot of people don't discuss the past because you focus on the present, right? So in that relationship, you have no reason to be thinking about, oh my gosh, is this guy still thinking about his ex or is this girl still thinking about her ex? Because you don't discuss it. You don't bring the past into the relationship. Eventually, you probably...
I mean, sometimes you do, but you don't have someone knocking at your door with a fishbowl of questions that's going to make it rush back into the relationship.
I feel like it should naturally come out if anything, right?
Yeah.
It can be curiosity, but that should be discussed and put back in the box.
Yeah, I agree with that. So then the next question, what does it take for you to fall in love? Mark says time. If it's not love right out of the gate, it takes time to build a foundation. Also a lot of patience. Again, not a great answer.
No, especially what we learned from Mark's friend, that he said Mark falls in love with literally everyone.
And so then maybe that's a very real answer for him to say it takes time, meaning give it enough time, he'll fall in love with anyone.
Well, that's kind of sad too.
That's his answer, though. He's like, it takes time. It takes time to fall in love. Okay,
No.
Does that mean you can fall in love with anyone given enough time?
No.
That's what he said.
Yeah, no, I don't buy it.
Yeah. No, I just don't think he knows necessarily. And maybe that's why he looks back on past relationships and goes, oh, I was in love. I just didn't realize it at the time.
No, maybe that's why he's 35 and still single.
Sure. So then Lindsay answers the question, says she needs her partner to be present, show they care. She needs someone who doesn't walk away and abandon the moment, someone who will always show up. And when she doesn't get that, she checks out.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, she's not asking for a lot. She's asking for support. She's asking for a little bit of a safety net. She wants a partner who's there for her and someone who can deal with the ups and the downs.
But this is the thing, right? Sober Lindsay, now she's saying all these things, and these are the right things to say, right? As you said, she's not asking for anything crazy. But then she gets drunk and she stirs the pot to the point that they end up in these wild, crazy arguments that they have a hard time getting back from, right? They argue over everything, and it usually is because Lindsay gets a little drunk, Mark gets a little annoyed,
Yeah.
and it brings up other issues when she sobers up. But like at the end of the day, they don't want anything crazy.
Yeah.
They don't expect anything crazy.
Lindsay's almost not living up to her own expectations of what love is because she's kind of quick to walk away. She's kind of quick to abandon the moment when things don't go her way. She's quick to run off into a bathroom and bash Mark.
While she's still here. So I almost feel like maybe it's also her trying to put up this, oh, I'm a badass, I'm a cool person. If something's not gonna go my way, I'm just gonna check out. I don't think she would check out.
You don't think she would end the experiment? You don't think
No.
she would call for divorce?
I think at the end of the day, as long as Mark is kind of trying and he's present at whatever point,
Yeah.
I don't think she would give up. She can say that she's at 1%, but then Mark says, well, there is still, 1% is still something.
Which is
And
all
so-
Chris wanted.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
So I don't think that she would be like Alyssa or like Chris, that she would like literally give up.
Okay. I just wish she was not so quick to bash, not so quick to say,
Yeah, well, 100%.
oh, I'll pull all the way back. There's no halfway from me.
But I think that's her
It's a
defending
it's a defense
mechanism.
mechanism. Yeah.
So I don't even feel maybe she doesn't even mean what she's saying, but she says it, and we all do it. We all sometimes say things we don't fully mean, but it's a defense mechanism that we think that at the moment it's the right thing to do and the right thing to say. And then you reflect and you're like, I shouldn't have said it.
Yeah. So Lindsay asks, do you think you're beginning to fall in love? I mean, that's the question. She's not really curious. The fishbowl's curious. And Mark says it's beginning to happen, which I didn't expect.
I missed that.
Maybe I took the note wrong?
He said he needs time to fall in love, but that's all I got. And we
That
talked
was
about it.
the
Yeah.
answer to what it takes for you to fall in love. But then I thought she said, do you think you're beginning to? And I thought he said it's beginning. Lindsay, on the other hand, said, if you asked me a week or two ago, I'd say yes. But the last week has been really tough for me. And she needs a little bit of a change for her to start to fall in love. She needs Mark to make her a priority. which again, I think a sexual priority. I think really that's all it comes down to. If he came home and instead of groceries, he had some KY jelly and a vibrator, then she'd be in love. Don't look at me
jelly?
Don't look at me like that.
What's
Just a little
jelly?
sexual lubricant, I think, would
Is that
lubricate.
something that's in your drawer over there?
No, no, but I think that's all she needs, really. Less salt, more lube.
Well, I think she needs more than that, but I think sex is a big part of it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, shall we move on a little, Jasmina and Michael?
Let's do it.
We got a picnic here. We got a picnic for Jasmina and also for Mr. Feeney the dog.
I like the dog. He's a cutie.
Cute dog. Big Boy Meets World fan.
And Mike knows that Mr. Feeney is an important part of Jasmina's life, so he's trying. He's trying hard. Like, he got him some toys.
Right. The basket of gifts was for the dog, not for Jasmina. But she loves that. She likes that Michael is putting Mr. Feeney first. And so he tries to bond with the dog a bit. And you give the dog a cookie, you're going to ask for a paw. And he asks, Mr. Feeney gives like a half-ass paw.
Well, because he didn't feel the authority.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You gotta, I think every dog is able to give a paw if you say it with a certain voice and you do the little gesture.
Well, they have to be trained to give paw. They don't
I think dogs automatically do what you kind of like mimic. If you,
Oh.
I think a lot of dogs do. Even like, dogs are very smart. Let's not forget that part. Dogs are very smart. I think if you stand there, you're like just like looking around. You're like, "Oh, give me a paw." The dog's not gonna give you anything, right? But if you look at them and you're like, "Give me a paw," and you kind of do the gesture,
Okay.
most dogs will give you a paw.
They'll mirror your energy.
Yeah, they'll mirror.
Interesting.
Mirror.
No, whatever you said was correct too. Yeah, mimic. Mirror.
Yes,
yeah.
I said mimic.
No, okay. All right. Well, Michael doesn't give up. Okay. He's not going to give up that easy. He finally gets some paw. So it's nice to see. The bond there is building. The bond with Jasmina, that's a whole other bag of tricks.
And I was kind of laughing because they started talking about their communication. 2 minutes later, they are arguing over their communication. That's not how you communicate.
Yeah, because my first note was Michael asks the best way to communicate with Jasmine. I'm like, this is big. This is good. Michael's asking.
He's trying, yeah.
He's asking. He's interested. He wants to make this better. He wants to improve. And then, it immediately falls apart and goes awry because Jasmina says the best way is to have a conversation. Don't just talk at me, talk with me.
Which is very true.
Which is very true. And also her big thing, don't use a tone. She's very big on tone. She doesn't want to be spoken to with a tone. Even though she's one to give tone, she hates a tone. She hates ringtones, touch tones, Tony Bennett. Don't come at her with a tone.
Yeah, and for sure, it's all about how you say things. It's also about what you say. But how you say it is a big thing. And they need to learn how to call each other on their BS in a polite way. As an example, right? Like sometimes I get stressed and you ask me something and I answer in a way that I don't hear it. But you're like, oh, you don't need to yell at me.
You don't hear your tone.
And you don't say that. But you're like, you don't need to yell at me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't, but I'm not trying to. So I take it back. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, but I can understand how it sounds. We chit-chat about it and it's all good. I think they need to learn how to do that.
Yeah. I think it's so important in this specific circumstance where you only know someone for a couple of weeks that it's not just what you say, but it's how you say it because you don't know each other's communication styles. So sure, down the road, you might learn, she always talks like that. She doesn't mean any harm by it. But at this point, you don't know their communication styles. So it's important to be aware of how you're saying something.
100%.
Yeah. And Michael's not happy with the answer of don't talk at me, talk with me. He almost wanted either Jasmina to be like, you communicate great, and didn't want any critique, or he wanted specifics.
He wanted a cookie like Mr. Feeney, like, you're a good boy.
Yeah.
You communicate so well.
Yeah, or he wanted like, rub my shoulder if you're giving me bad news. He wanted something specific, not just like talk with me. So I think that's kind of what sets him off. He starts losing his cool. He gets very annoyed, and Jasmina tries to talk him down, but it doesn't really go well. And I'm not totally siding with Jasmina, because you want to talk about tone. I think she has a little bit of a tone, and maybe it comes from her work with children. Maybe she kind of
Interesting, yeah.
Now Michael, you know, she does that.
Oh, yeah, and I said it before, for sure.
Yeah, now Michael, like that, you know, he's not a preschooler. You don't need to talk to him like that. It's not going to get you very far. But they're both at fault, I think, when it comes to communication.
Yeah, no. I think that's their biggest issue.
It is. It is their biggest issue.
But communication is so important in the relationship. Like, obviously, other things like sex and attractiveness and compatibility. But communication is the key.
I agree.
It truly is, because, yes, people disagree, and that's totally okay. You don't want to be married to someone or date someone you agree with on everything. It's going to get, it's going to get kind of annoying. But you need to learn how to disagree if you do disagree on something. And have a conversation about it, because it's okay.
Who were we talking about that the person was getting annoyed that they were always being agreed with?
Mike and Jimena, 90-Day Fiance.
Yes. Guys, it's a lot of trash we're digging through here.
A lot of trash.
But yes, so Jimena, whether it's true or not, Jimena was saying, Mike, he just agrees with everything. It gets on my nerves when I say I want this, he wants that. When I do this, he does that. So you got to be your own person.
Oh, 100%.
You got to be your own person. And yeah, find someone who you can be yourself with is the key there. Okay, so new day, Jasmina and Michael, they're eating. And Jasmina, making small talk, asks how dinner is. Michael comes up and says, today's actually the anniversary of my brother's passing.
His brother's name was Vladimir. Which is a very European name.
I wrote that down.
It's literally a Eastern European name.
Very timely right now.
It's Volodymyr.
Who is?
Zelensky?
Putin?
No, Volodymyr Zelensky. That's the Ukrainian president.
Oh, okay. But what's Putin's first name is Vladimir.
Vladimir, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very timely. We're not the biggest.
Okay, that's where.
We're not the biggest fans of that.
I always
Vladimir,
forget that Putin's name, not to get political, but I always forget that his first name.
Putin's like Prince, where he just goes by one name.
No one calls him Vladimir.
Putin is no prince. Let's be very clear about that. But yeah, so let's keep it to this one Vladimir. There's a lot of Vladimirs happening. But
it's a very popular Eastern European name, including the Czech Republic, including Poland, Slovakia, Ukraine, Russia, like all these countries, we all have Vladimirs, but we all spell differently.
Well, it's like Michael in America. Yeah. So you've got a very common American name in Michael, and you got a very common European name in Vladimir.
You know what's one of the most common boys' names in the Czech Republic?
Not John.
Michal.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, he brings up his brother, Vladimir. And Michael says it's the anniversary of his passing, and Jasmina feels bad about this for not knowing.
But at the same time, she feels good about Michael opening it up.
Yeah. And I think that brings them a little bit closer, because they need to get vulnerable, and we'll talk about it later, but they need to get vulnerable. They need to break down those walls. And that's how they'll be able to grow closer. So it's time for the homework. Okay, here come the same questions again. Have you been in love before? And hear me out on this one and tell me what you think. Because Jasmina goes 3 times before and a possible.
Well, I was more thinking about, wait a minute, you always dated long distance.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever fall in love with someone who I would see once in a while.
Well, you don't know how often they saw each other.
That's true.
You don't know their relationship.
No, I'm just thinking, all I'm saying is that I love that we hang out all the time. I mean, we live together, but even before we became engaged, before we moved in together, we were hanging out all the time, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you could be in a long distance relationship and see the person every weekend.
Listen, I don't talk shit about it. It works for some people. I'm just saying it would be hard for me to even think about it.
That's not my question. So she says 3 times before and a possible. Okay. Michael,
what does it even mean?
That's okay. That's what I'm going to ask you, because Michael says 1 and a possible. And he goes, my possible was high school. We didn't know what love was yet. And I'm thinking you're an idiot, Michael, because I think Jasmina was saying the possible is Michael.
Oh.
3 times in a possible, you being that possible, you being the potential
look
of.
at you.
And now I feel bad for thinking Michael's a dum-dum, because I don't know that you picked up on that.
I did not.
Why would she mention a possible if it's not Mike being, oh, we could possibly fall in love one
I
day?
didn't get it, but now I kind of focus on what Mike said, because I get it. Like, I did have a boyfriend in high school and we were breaking up every 2 weeks, but I'm saying, like, I've never been in love, right? But when you're in high school, like, oh my God, that's my boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
I don't see it as love, especially because I know what love is now, right? So I see what he's saying, and that's what I kind of like focused on.
Really?
So I was like, oh, I get it. Yeah. Like, did you have a girlfriend in high school?
Yeah.
You see, I had a boyfriend in high school too. So I understand. And I kind of dismissed Jasmina's comment, because first I was like, what does it even mean? But I think you're right.
I know I'm
think
right.
you're right.
I know I'm right. Who would ever?
Look at that.
Only you and Michael would be like, yeah, 1, I was in love definitely once. And then a possible, if high school worked out the way I wanted, that would have been love. No,
You see, I dismissed the possible comment.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have me.
Exactly. You could replace DP because she is not even there. Look
Right?
at you.
Some of the producers call us, because we are here to provide
DJ. You'll be DJ, Dr. John.
It could be Dr. John. DJ. Okay. What do you think it takes for you to fall in love, Michael? And he says vulnerability, which
Friendship.
isn't easy for him. He says as a man, being vulnerable makes him feel weak. And so he needs to be comfortable to feel vulnerable.
Like, I still don't fully understand the word vulnerable.
Oh, you don't?
I think I do, but I feel like it's different for everyone, isn't it?
Sure, as most things are. No, I want to hear what you think vulnerable
I
is.
think it means you open up.
Yeah, you can show weakness. You can cry in front of someone. You can be true to yourself. You can express your feelings.
Oh my gosh, I'm vulnerable all the time.
You're very vulnerable, but not in front of everyone.
No.
You're almost never vulnerable in front of other people. You're vulnerable
Because I don't need to.
You're very vulnerable in front of me.
Yeah.
But you were not, and you're very, very, very vulnerable in front of me now, but you were not the first 6 months we dated.
No, I didn't want you to run away.
Fair enough. But that's what Michael is saying. He's saying, I need to get comfortable with the person before I can be vulnerable with a person. And Jasmina asks, well, are you vulnerable now? And he says, I don't think we've had conversations where I can be. The circumstances haven't been right for me to be vulnerable. And I would say that's true. They've been very walled. They've, everything's been very surface with them. They'll talk for 34 seconds and then it turns into an argument. So I don't think there has been that opportunity for vulnerability.
I think they first need to nail down the communication skills before like really opening up. I almost feel like that comes hand in hand. So they can probably do both at the same time, but need to work on it. Especially because this does not come naturally to them. They were matched by the experts. It's not like they met a bar and they slowly started dating, getting to know each other, right? No, that's a different situation. So they need to put some work in it.
Yeah, I may be wrong, but I think great communication comes from vulnerability. I think the vulnerability comes first. Otherwise, what are you're talking about surface level stuff.
I guess you're right.
What are we having for dinner? You're not going to have a great conversation. You're not going to have great communication over dinner unless you're being vulnerable, which would be someone saying, I want to have sushi. And you'd have to be vulnerable to say, you know what? I don't like sushi, and here's why, and maybe we could think of something else. And that's
I
not the
can see
greatest
that.
example of vulnerability, but I just think great conversation or communication comes from a place of vulnerability.
All right.
Okay?
I'll give you that, DJ.
Should we talk about
Ah.
you give men a bad name? Elijah, you give men a bad name.
Yeah. You are a psychopath. Say it.
No, you say it.
Psychopath?
Yeah, you got it.
I think I
Don't
was trying
question
to...
yourself.
I think so. This is what I do sometimes, and I hate when I do it, but my brain does it for me.
Mm-hmm.
When the word is very similar in Czech and in English,
Mm-hmm.
I always am unsure how to pronounce it, and I try to combine the pronunciations.
Understood.
And
So
it's ridiculous because I keep doing it with a lot of things, and it always like backfires at me.
what is the Czech word?
It's psychopath.
Okay.
So I was kind of like going into that pronunciation,
Sure
and then
were.
I kind of like got a little hints of English, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, psychopath.
Yeah, psychopath, psychopath, very similar,
Mm-hmm.
spelled the same,
Yep.
but
This is a learning podcast, folks,
for
for
sure.
all involved.
We're all involved.
Okay. Katina took a big step. She went grocery shopping, and she came back with more than just bread and water. So
I feel bad for her. Like, I get it. Like, single girl, she was used to eating out, and that's totally fine. We've been there. You were eating out. I was eating out before we met.
yeah,
Even when we
seamless.
started dating, we had tiny kitchens. We didn't cook.
Seamless every night.
Mm-hmm.
We either went out or brought in. Sure.
I remember the first time I cooked for you, but I wanted to. But it was so much pain in the ass because your kitchen was non-existent.
What
And neither
did
was
you-
mine.
Pasta?
It was a meat sauce and
Yeah, pasta and
Yeah.
meatballs. Yeah.
Yeah, you loved it.
It was great.
Yeah.
So Katina took the step. She went grocery shopping. So now they're in the kitchen, and things are heating up in the kitchen. Okay, it's fight night in the kitchen.
I mean, when isn't it?
Fair enough.
They always fight in the kitchen because
Because-
someone
because-
doesn't live up to the other person's expectations. Am I right?
Because Elijah has Katina chained to the stove. That's why they're always fighting in the kitchen, because she's stuck in the kitchen. Apparently the fight is stemming from an argument they had the night before. So roll the Nest camera footage, and we see an argument between Katina and Elijah that's really about Elijah's definition of a wife.
And Katina doesn't like that question.
Well, Katina's definition, he asks what her definition of a wife is, and she says, a partner, your support system, but you asked me to cook more, and now you feel like I'm not stepping up to the plate with my wife duties.
They're doing their own fishbowl questions.
Yeah. Well, Elijah's like, it's more than that. He says, when we had our housewarming party and everyone was leaving, I asked if you wanted to clean up, and you only wanted to clean half the floor. And that's where the fight is really coming from.
I mean, it's a ridiculous answer unless she was joking.
It's a ridiculous answer, especially with the size of that floor. Mm-hmm. It's a small apartment,
Yeah.
kitchen floor.
But he could have laughed it or be like, all right, you clean half, I'll clean half. That's not a reason for an argument, but it's a big deal for Elijah one.
Yeah, he apparently said like, okay, just go to sleep. I'll clean the floor.
He wants a cleaning partner.
No, he wants a cleaning lady. He doesn't wanna go halves. I don't think.
He's trying to portray herself. I mean, he's trying to portray himself as so mature.
I
But he's
guess
not. Just a mature person is not gonna be dwelling on someone else's cooking and cleaning.
Yeah. It's this is so frustrating to talk about. I mean, he goes, you think it's just food. You think it's about food. You think it's about cooking, but it's bigger than that. I'm not your boyfriend. You're my wife and I'm your husband.
Well, yes and yes and yes. But you keep giving her shit about everything she does or doesn't do.
I mean, they're not automatic duties. That's not in the job description of a
No.
wife anymore. It can be, but it's it's not a non-negotiable for most relationships.
Like he has an idea of marriage that he wants, but that's not it. Every marriage is very different, right? Everyone makes their own marriage work.
Yeah.
There are some ground rules. Let's say usually you shouldn't cheat on the other person unless you're a triplet. Triplets?
Thruple?
Tricycle? Truple.
Thruple? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a whole other
That's
thing.
a whole other thing a lot.
Yeah.
You ever have sex with the mother and daughter? That's not how you
That's
play.
Elijah one, yeah.
That's not how you play this game, Isaac.
Yeah. No, but there are some ground rules that most married couples follow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that every marriage is just different. And him having this crazy idea of his 60s wife, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And if he wants certain things like, oh, I can't go to sleep if the house isn't sparkling clean, then clean it yourself.
I mean, I get it. I cannot go to sleep if the house isn't
But then
sparkly clean.
But then you clean it yourself.
Oh, I clean it myself all the time.
You would never go, oh, I cannot sleep if this house is dirty. John, go clean it. No, if it's your issue, then you deal with it.
I always deal with it, but I like it. Like I cannot even finish dinner and sit down. I need to clean up first.
Right. And you take that into your own hands.
Yeah, I mean, you help me with stuff. I don't want to make you sound like you don't do anything. You do. But I do most of it from my own will because I want to, because I love clean.
Mm-hmm.
I have this anxiety when something is not clean.
So they get their assignment. And the questions, again, are the same. What does it take for you to fall in love, Elijah Juan? Devotion, loyalty, commitment.
And crying.
There was nowhere. Did I see cleaning? Did I see cooking? Where did those words go, Elijah Juan? Because clearly this is not true. Devotion, loyalty, and commitment. There's nothing of these house chores.
I guess it's probably a sub item of some of this.
I guess so. You have to be devoted to cooking. You have to be committed to cleaning. Maybe is what he meant. Katina says, someone who loves me, loyalty, patience, and I want my partner to be my best friend. That's probably the best. Those are probably the best prerequisites that we've heard yet.
And then we hear Katina saying that, Elijah was like, well, you don't show any emotions. You don't even cry. You didn't cry at the wedding. Dude, some people don't cry. Coming from someone who does cry.
Oh, I'm sure Katina cries in the car every day driving back to that apartment.
And she said, I cry in private.
Yeah. As she drives home, realizing what she's walking into, she's probably in full tears. And that is devastating to think about.
For sure. And what's more devastating is her talking about her bad, abusive relationship she had before.
Right. The reason why she doesn't cry.
Yeah. And now she is in the same exact relationship once again.
Except he wants to make her cry.
Yeah.
Her ex, so if you guys didn't watch, her ex would verbally abuse her whenever she'd cry. I can only imagine the things he would say to her. Why are you crying? You're so weak. You're so whatever. And so she trained herself not to cry, which is, I can't even imagine having to feel like you can express yourself or you can get emotional. But she did this and she did it so well that now she doesn't cry in front of other people.
And that good for her.
Yeah, and there was this glimmer of hope. There was this glimmer of husband in Elijah when he said, don't let anyone dictate your future or the way you act. It's okay to cry. It's a human emotion. I was like, all right, Elijah, that's being supportive. That's being there for your wife. But he just abandons being a good husband altogether in every scene after this. So, okay. The question then is, Elijah, are you falling in love? And Elijah won't answer. He makes Katina answer first.
And poor Katina, she's like, well, we have potential.
Yeah, there's potential. I could see myself falling in love with you. And I don't know if I'm just looking too deep into this because I see the person Elijah is now or what, but the fact that he makes her answer first and she goes, There's potential. I could see myself falling in love with you. And then Elijah comes in with I like you. I definitely like you, but love's not on the table. It's like, why did you make her go first and say yes, potentially there's love?
It's a power move.
It's such a power move. It's so controlling. And it's like he wanted to build it up so he could tear it down. Mm-hmm. It's really concerning behavior. And it's complete control
Psychopath.
or in check.
Psychopath.
Yeah.
No, I almost feel like if she said no, he would probably say yes and make her feel bad about it.
Yeah, either way, he needs the power. He needs the control.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's like, oh, it's not a bad thing. You know, I definitely like you. And Katina's just like, She's so beat down. She's so heartbroken.
Like what he said next, like really, I started like hating Elijah because he said, well, standards have to be met for any love to grow. What?
This is so
What? I can't believe he said it.
It's so one-sided. He doesn't want a wife. He wants an employee. Mm-hmm. Because he's acting like a disappointed boss. He's acting like, Katina, could I see you in my office, please? Yeah. So look, the standards of this business are just not being met. The floors are not as clean as they should be. The meals are not as hot as they need to be. And I'm just disappointed in your performance.
Yeah, you said it very nicely. That's not even how Elijah won rolls.
No, but I'm just not, these are not husband and wife interactions. These are employee-boss interactions, and he deserves the world's worst boss mug.
Like if you told me, that was a good one.
Thank you.
If you told me that your standards are not being met, we would not be podcasting right now.
No, I mean, it's a ridiculous statement.
I think it's so bad.
It's a ridiculous statement because it's so and sorry to cut you off, and maybe I'm not meeting your standards now by cutting you off, but I just have to say it to frame it. The reason I'm saying employee boss is because it's so one-sided. He has standards.
You're right.
As the boss and feels like he's the superior and she's the subordinate. What about the standards that she has for you? He's not concerned about those at all. She should have standards just as he should. Mm-hmm. Sorry if I cut you off and you had
No. I agree. And I forgot what I wanted to say.
Well, okay. So the saddest part is Katina's just trying so hard. And here's the duck analogy that we like to use. You're cool on top. Mm-hmm. You're working your ass off below the surface. Katina's trying to keep it cool. But then she's going, all right, I'll try to express myself more. I'll cook more. I'll clean more. Like she is saying, I'll do whatever it takes for you to love me.
It's very sad.
And Elijah goes, I have to see it to believe it.
That's literally, oh my gosh.
Inexcusable. I need DP. I need PC.
Everyone.
And I need DV and maybe a guest appearance by me, DJ. Yeah, I need us on the first flight to Boston because some intervention needs to take place right now.
That literally brought me back to my childhood or my teen years when that was my mom's favorite sentence, that she doesn't want me to say I'll do things, she wants to show it. And I was always like, oh, so I know. And when she was like, all right, if you want to go out until 2 a.m., well, you need to start picking up more work at home. You need to clean more. You need to do more, but show me first. And I was always like, Mom.
Yeah.
Mom.
I mean, it's true. You talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. So I'm with you there. But this is just the cherry on the douchebag sundae.
It's the way he said it. You don't have to say things like this.
No.
Especially not to your partner who is supposed to be your equal.
Yeah. And I don't want to make excuses for Elijah because his behavior is inexcusable. But maybe he needs to masturbate or something because, look, this guy is used to getting his rocks off every weekend, and now he's abstained from sex for how many weeks?
But
he's all pent up.
Whose fault is it?
It's nobody's fault if he wants to.
No, it's his fault. He said he doesn't want to have sex because he's afraid that that's going to be it.
But I don't consider that a fault. I consider that maybe he's trying to be more than just physical.
No, I think, again, it comes down to being a crazy person, because if you're married to someone, being physical, being intimate, that's a big part of it. So the fact that he's withholding it for those reasons, saying, oh, I feel like maybe after that, like I'm going to be done with her.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Either way, he's so pent up from not having sex, it's going to his brain. And it's just, I don't know, the wires are getting crossed or something, because this is absolutely insane behavior.
Absolutely insane.
Okay, guys, I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to be very honest with you. We need to take a break so we can get ourselves a drink, because, whew,
Oh, yeah.
this is out of control. All right, we're going to take a quick break, grab a drink, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Let's talk group activities. Okay, you want to start with the ladies?
Yes.
They're at a salon with about enough champagne bottles for the city of Boston to celebrate a World Series win. I don't know if you saw the back, but
I did not.
there was a credenza with about 42 bottles of champagne
Wait,
ready to go.
it's a nail salon. They offer you a champagne. Like high-end nail salons do. It was like, would you like to have a glass?
All right. Now, you're the expert. Is this enough to get 20 people plastered? 15 bottles of vodka? Yeah, that should do it. That's what I thought when I saw that many bottles of champagne with that few people.
Well, I don't think it was just for them. For
Shout
Michael
out to
Scott.
Dunder Mifflin Christmas.
For Michael Scott, that was just for the Christmas party.
Yeah. Can you imagine the FOMO Alyssa is going to have when she sees this on screen? She's like, this is what I signed up for.
So this is what I'm missing. God damn it.
Champagne and salons. This is why I applied for this show, not for a Chris.
Yeah, no one wants you there, Alyssa.
Nail days with the ladies. That's why I signed up. Okay, so Katina asks, how's everyone doing with their husbands? Noi responds and says, we're getting used to things. It's about getting used to your husband, being together 24/7. It takes time to get used to that. 24/7? Noidles?
Well, her husband is unemployed and she works from home, so...
Didn't you take off when things... If it's too hot in the kitchen, how does that phrase go? If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, Noidles. Didn't you take off?
a little leap,
Okay, so
but not of faith.
no,
Just a little
She
leap.
took a leap and took the day off and just posted things on Instagram. So I don't know about this 24/7 talk, Noidles, but all right. Lindsay, I think she referenced a post Noi made. Didn't she reference an Instagram post? She was like, yeah, Noi, you posted something about marrying your partner's inner child. And
Wait, who said it?
Lindsay.
Oh, classic Lindsay.
I think Noi is very active on social media. I don't think she talks to Steve. I think she just communicates through memes and, stories. But Lindsay referenced something about marrying your partner's inner child and their inner trauma. And Noi's like, yeah, we don't really know these people, so it's going to take time.
Which is true.
Sure is true. That's why this experiment is wild. So Lindsay says her and Mark were usually so in sync. We're not even like, usually we're dolphins, not even sharks. We're just in sync like dolphins, in sync like Justin Timberlake, in sync like boy bands. But we're, we're having some issues.
In sync like dolphins?
You've never heard that saying?
No.
Dolphins, if you ever see dolphins in the wild, they usually breach. Do dolphins breach? I know whales do. They usually come out of the water together in sync. Bye. No? Well, Lindsay asks the girls if they're growing in intimacy or fading. See, I'm telling you, she's so concerned about the sex.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think
DJ, you might be right, DJ.
I think that's all she wants is someone to scratch her record.
Oh, come on. that's a nice thing.
Come on.
That's pretty good.
Okay. So Katina's like, the light's been flickering up and down. And the gaslight?
All these girls having all these, what do you call it? Not puns.
Idioms. Yeah. No, Elijah wants the idiom. Katina,
No, he's the idiot.
I know. Let the joke just land, and people will either take it or leave it. Okay?
You're too smart for your own good.
You don't need to punch up my jokes on the podcast. They're doing just fine. Guys, call in. Are they doing fine? Please.
I think they are.
Please don't. I will end it all. Katina says Elijah needs someone who can give back the same energy to him. And also, actions are important to Elijah. So those last couple of days they've been eye-opening for her. Jasmina takes a turn, spilling it all, and says her and Michael, they need to get more vulnerable. And if they do, that could lead to a spark.
Mm-hmm. And like hopefully moving forward, they can be honest and have honest conversations, which that's literally what they need.
That's to come. And then Noi brings up the noodles and how that was a test of their relationship.
But apparently, Steve was so devastated when she came back home that she could see how sad he was and how much he actually loves her. So she's like, I never want to hurt him like this.
Yeah.
And just think about the fact that this whole thing was over noodles.
Steve, with a V for vulnerable. He got vulnerable and
Very vulnerable. I can't freaking say it.
Say it in Czech.
I don't even know how.
Oh. But Czechs don't get vulnerable. They probably don't have a word for vulnerable because they're just stone-faced Eastern
You're
Europeans.
saying okay.
You became vulnerable when you got to America.
Geographic
I know you're
Central
Central
Europe.
To the rest of the world, you're Eastern European.
No, but the rest of the world has it wrong.
Okay, I know, but they have it wrong about a lot of things. Calling you Eastern European is the least of their fallacies.
I'm the Eastern Czech because I'm from the eastern side of the Czech Republic.
There you go.
I'm not an Eastern European.
You're Eastern-leaning European.
No, we're literally in the middle.
Let's talk about the guy. Let's talk about the guy's activity.
This is what I'm gonna say.
All right, here we go.
If anyone is a Central European country, it's the Czech Republic.
Okay.
We are called the heart of Europe.
What about Slovakia?
Well, they're Eastern.
Okay, you were attached to them. So
I was gonna say.
So when you were Czechoslovakia, you were Eastern European?
Yes.
Because the tail wags the dog. So if the tail is touching Eastern Europe, you're Eastern European.
No, the brain is where the heart is.
If you're Russian when you go into the bathroom and you're American when you leave the bathroom, what are you when you're in the bathroom?
I've heard this somewhere. I don't know. It's like a funny thing.
If you're Russian when you're going to the bathroom and you're American when you leave the bathroom, what are you when you're in the bathroom?
Waiting.
European.
Oh! I knew it was something like this because I've seen it.
Let's talk about the guys' activity. They're at archery games, which sounds
Why did I say waiting?
fantastic. I don't know why you said waiting.
Because I was like, rushing.
Yeah. You're peeing, Teresa.
No, I got that,
You
but
get
I'm
it?
trying to figure out why I said waiting. Sometimes I question myself.
I question you a lot. Archery, Teresa. Archery. Okay? The guys are doing it. It looks awesome. It's like
I want to do it.
It's an archery version of paintball. It looks fun. I like it. Mark is fired up to have some time away from Lindsay.
Mark the Shark.
Mark the Shark.
Apparently Mark the Archer because he's killing it.
Yeah, they were all doing okay. They're no Robin Hood. They're no men in tights. They sit down to talk about home life. Mark says it's more work than I thought. Mark says it's about figuring out personalities I'm not used to and trying to figure out where the emotions are coming from. He's got his plate full with Lindsay when it comes to that. Elijah, he says it feels like he's babying Katina.
I can't.
Teresa's eyes are rolling in the back of her head
Because
right now.
he's an idiot.
Oh, you said it.
Oh,
Well, he
you
brings
said
up
it first.
life skills. He's like, I don't go to sleep with my house dirty, okay? I can't always be there to guide Katina.
Like the way he talked about her, the fact that he was saying, I I can't always be there to guide her.
He talked about her like she's a malfunctioning Roomba. Like it's going off course. I can't always be there to guide the vacuum.
Speaking of that vacuum, he needs to buy that shit because that cleans the whole house.
He needs to buy a Roomba. He doesn't need a wife. He needs a Roomba. You heard it here first, folks. Put it on a bumper sticker. Put it on a t-shirt. Elijah needs a Roomba. Yeah. So, okay. Michael, the king of communication now, he's like a pro at communicating. He goes, I'm worried you're not communicating with Katina and you're just bottling things up. Like this guy is running a clinic now on communication because he had one conversation about communication.
Well, he also says later on that communication is still an issue for him. But it's like some people can see other people's issues, but it's hard for them to deal with the same issues.
Yeah. And they almost see it because they're experiencing it and they're so good. Everyone's so good at giving advice to other people. And I'm probably guilty of it on this podcast. You're so good at giving advice to other people, but can you internalize it yourself? Right. And that's kind of what Michael's doing is he's giving some pointers on communication when he really needs to take the pointers for himself. But he says, Michael says, I think I need to be more vulnerable with Jasmina to have her open up. They've kind of honed in on that vulnerability as what could really be the key to unlock their communication.
But I truly believe if they can communicate better and be...
You got it. Come on. Give me a V. Give me a U.
Don't do this to me.
Okay.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, you got it. Trust in yourself. Trust in your tongue.
This word is killing me. But anyways,
Tongue twister.
I think if they can nail those two things down, they can be successful. But if they can't, I don't think they will be because those are two really big things.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. And I would like to see them succeed. I think they could be a nice pair.
They could be, but again, they need to work. They need to work on themselves and the relationship.
Everyone on the show needs to work.
Well, yeah, but I feel like for them, because they know what the issue is. Other people... I feel like they don't truly like for Elijah one, he thinks the issue is because she doesn't cook and she doesn't live up to his standards, right? For Mark the Shark, for him the issue is that Lindsay gets a little wild and says things and he doesn't like it. Lindsay doesn't see it. But Michael and Jasmina are on the same page.
That's a good point. Yeah, every other couple's issues are kind of one-sided. Whereas with Michael and Jasmina, they're dealing with the same issue.
And they talk about it. So even though they still don't communicate well, they at least know what they have to work on.
That's a good point. Steve brings up the noodle meltdown.
I'm TD.
Teresa Doctor?
Oh,
Teresa Doctor, medicine woman?
DT. It's almost like DP. DT.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Teresa.
Dr. Teresa. Okay. The doctor is in. All right. Steve talks about the noodle meltdown and how Noi just kind of took off and then went radio silent. He says, but they finally hashed it out. But it took Steve admitting how much it hurt him. It took vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
That's the word of the day here. Unfortunately
I'm
for
gonna
Teresa.
practice, guys. I'm going to practice.
Fortunately for Teresa, that's the word of the day. So Steve kind of tells Michael in a way, like, look, being vulnerable, that's the reason we were able to resolve our issue. Okay. So that's the end of the group hangs. We go back to couple-on-couple action. And we start with Lindsay and Mark, who are having this fancy sushi dinner.
I want you to take me to experience the sushi boat.
You want a sushi boat?
I do want a sushi boat.
All right. Ask and you shall receive.
But no salmon.
It will be the Noah's Ark of sushi boats. You will get one of every fish.
Okay, I'll take it.
All right?
I'll take it.
Okay. What kind of shark is Mark? Because the sharks I know are big fans of the fish and chowing down on the fish.
I mean, who is Mark? He seems to me as this typical American guy. Like, he loves sports, he loves baseball, he lives in a big city, so it's not like he doesn't communicate with the civilization, right?
Let me just stop you right there before you embarrass yourself.
Okay.
You said, what kind of American guy is Mark. And now I know where you're going. You're going to say he doesn't eat what, tacos?
No.
Or sushi, which are not American cuisine?
Not that he doesn't eat them. That's fine. I don't eat some things. You don't eat some things. He never had tacos. He never had sushi.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
What?
Yeah. I wouldn't.
People in my homeland eat tacos and sushi, and we don't even have the sea.
I'm going to.
We don't even have a sea. So just think about it.
You're landlocked over there in Central Europe.
And we still eat sushi.
Yeah.
So just
I would
think about
question
that fact. Well, I question it all the time.
Yeah.
But people eat sushi. People have had sushi. My parents have had sushi. They've had it in the US. They've had it in the Czech Republic. Mark the Shark, who lives in Boston.
On the sea.
Freaking food truck. Have you ever heard of a food truck tacos?
Czech Republic.
Fiesta Taco Tuesday, dude.
Czech Republic sushi is probably the gas station sushi of Europe.
It's like the last place you would have a sushi at, but hey,
you've
we
had
have it.
Yeah. Look, here's my issue. It's not really his adventurous eating that's an issue for me. It's Lindsay taking control of this situation because he's going out on a limb. He's trying to make her happy. He's taking her to a sushi dinner because he knows she likes it. And Lindsay immediately is like, all right, well, I know you don't like it, but I'm going to order the raw stuff for you. You're definitely trying eel. It's like the chicken of fish. And Mark's like, well, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe a California roll for your boy. And Lindsay's like, no, like you're definitely getting eel. You're going to love it. And just settle down, Lindsay. Baby steps.
I think it's okay that she wants him to try it, but it's the way she says it.
It's the controlling nature. It's the forcefulness. It should be, oh, I'm going to order eel. I love it. If you want to try it, I think you should try
exactly.
it.
And
I think you might like it.
And every single time I eat something that you don't, or I know that you would never order, I'm like, oh, hey, you should try this. Have a taste.
Right. Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
I think you would like it. Nah, I'm getting you the eel. You're going to try it.
No,
You're going to like it.
That's wrong.
I would never go out to dinner with you again.
No, I would not go out with dinner with you either.
It would not. I would throw you off the sushi boat.
Yes.
Okay. And maybe I'm just kind of vibing or feeling Mark in his chopstick struggles because I go through those myself. And so I feel bad for Mark.
I love eating with chopsticks.
I'll do the first. If it's sushi, I'll use chopsticks. But we went out to Shanghai Noodle House. We've plugged it before. We'll plug it again in Asheville.
Oh my gosh. That was amazing.
And they brought fried rice with sushi or with chopsticks. And I was like, oh, come on. Who do you think I am? You think I can eat rice with chopsticks?
I always try because I feel like I'm kind of French, eating slowly. But then I get annoyed.
It is probably a good technique to slow down your eating. But come on, rice with chopsticks?
I can't believe you reminded me of that place. I still look at the photos of my beautiful pineapple boat fried rice.
Yeah. Okay, well, the sushi boat comes out and Mark's eyes just about fell out into the soy sauce bowl because he could not believe what he was seeing. But he tries to be kind, which is something Lindsay should try. He tries to be kind, saying, Lindsay went into this experiment with the best intention, continues to do nice things, and so he apologizes for all the times he hurt her, and he promises not to cause her pain again.
Aw.
Look at this guy trying. Right?
He is.
He's trying. He just doesn't want to be force-fed eel.
And Lindsay's like, I feel the same about you, getting emotional. I truly believe that when she's uncomfortable, she drinks. She becomes an asshole. Then she wakes up. She's like, but I don't want to let out the fact that I don't want to show any weakness. So she plays the game of like, I'm a badass. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm 1% in. But I don't think she is.
What's the word of the day?
Vulnerability.
Yeah.
It was pretty good, right?
You can say it. Lindsay can't be it.
I think for whatever reason, she's holding back.
Yeah. And maybe, here we go with the cameras again. Maybe she doesn't want to appear weak on camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, for some reason, she's not allowing herself to be vulnerable. So new day. Mark and Lindsay, they're in the car. Apparently it's a surprise for Mark. But he's the one driving, so I don't know how that's working.
I mean, she can navigate him like to the left, to the right,
And I'm sure
straight, slow down.
she likes that.
Oh yeah, the control.
She probably put her voice as Mark's GPS. Take a left. Take a left. No, you idiot. No, you small bald idiot. I said left.
I hate when someone navigates me. I need my GPS.
I know. I do it just for fun.
Yes.
Teresa, she knows I'm doing it just to bust her balls, to bust her small balls. But she hates it. Like, we'll be in our neighborhood driving home, and I'll be like, so you just go left here, you just take a left here. And like,
It's so annoying.
We're 2 streets away.
But I laugh with you. I'm just telling you, it's annoying.
You're like, stop, I know. I'm like, I know you know. That's why it's a joke. I'm like, yep. And then you just take her right here into our driveway. Yep.
Well, you know why I have an issue with it? Besides, it is funny. It's annoying because I'll be honest, I do have an issue with right and left.
Yeah.
So you talking to me, it can stir me the wrong direction.
Okay.
So for
all
me,
good fun.
I don't even have the GPS sound on. I would just look at it. Because
Yeah.
I don't want that GPS talk to me.
Because if you hear left, you might go right.
Unless I drive to like a big city like Atlanta or Miami that I kind of want to know what's coming. I can have the sound on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. So they're surprised. It's a fun park. Batting cages, go-karts. It's a good time all around.
I love those little boats that they were like shooting water at each
Bumper
other.
boats.
Yeah. I would love to do that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Lindsay would like to bump something else later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who knows?
That'll get wet too. But Lindsay tells us she saw Mark kept baseballs from his childhood. When she went in to rescue him from his apartment, she saw baseballs and she knew it meant a lot to him. So that's why she took him there, which, okay. A for effort.
For sure.
It's nice appreciating what he's into and showing him that she saw that and paid attention to it. So that's good.
Plus, MTS played baseball for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So.
And I will say, as controlling as Lindsay is and how in her zone she wants to be, she's not good at baseball at all. So it was nice that she was willing to do something outside her comfort zone. Because I know a lot of people, they're not going to do something. They're not going to put themselves in a situation that makes them look dumb. She made herself look dumb. And
Not me.
I respect that.
I karaoke with you all the time.
Oh, you? 'Cause I think you think you're good at it. I don't think you realize how you sound.
I think I sound pretty good, but I have a few songs that I know I can handle.
Love it. Let me tell you, I when it comes to karaoke, the worse the singer is, the more I appreciate it. Because to me,
So
it's
you
like,
must appreciate me a lot.
I think you're the best karaoke singer ever because that's what karaoke should be. It's just like when you go to a gym and there's a bodybuilder there. I'm like, you know what? You won. You reached the end. You don't need to be here anymore. I'd rather see the person whose first date is at the gym struggling to get a mile on the treadmill because it's like, yes, you're here. You're doing it. The guy who's, got muscles coming out of his eyelids, you won. Go home.
Yeah, but he needs to be there to keep those muscles.
He doesn't need those muscles.
Okay.
I don't think he needs those muscles.
Well,
he could take
those
a day
muscles.
off. Okay. So Lindsay is telling the camera, Mark is so powerful. I wish he could take some of his strength and power and use it on me.
I wonder what kind of a shark Mark thinks he is. Like, is he a big white shark?
A
Or
great
is he-
white shark.
Yeah. Or is he a hammerhead?
He's probably not he's not so into himself. So maybe he's not a great white shark. He's just a good white shark.
I think he might be the whale shark. The one we saw in the Atlanta aquarium. The big
that's wild.
spotted shark. They're very nice. They have barnacles around them. They just like hang out. They don't eat people. I think that's the kind of a shark that Mark is.
We need to move on.
Okay,
But just my last
okay.
point was that Mark, when Lindsay's saying, oh, he's so powerful, I wish he could take some of his strength and use it on me. She's super horny.
yeah.
She just
Oh, yeah.
wants to get banged.
She wants to bang it out.
That's all I'm saying. Okay? That's all. She wants a shark attack.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Back to Jasmine and Michael. So Michael got crafty with that Mr. Feeney swag. Now Jasmina's getting crafty. She created Jasmina's Jim with a J.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I like how she pointed out that, no, I know how to spell. I'm being clever. See? Jim with a J, just so we all knew. So apparently Jasmina doesn't work out although her body would say otherwise.
She's one of those lucky bastards who just can eat anything
Yeah.
and they will look fabulous.
Yeah. Like
So, good for her.
She's not even skinny fat. She just like, she looks, I know she hates tone. She looks toned.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
Yeah. I can't stand that.
Oh my gosh,
And
I
it's,
wish.
it's not like she's 19. She's almost 30. When I was 22, I had to start working out so that I wouldn't have a beer belly, a pizza belly, or whatever belly. And she's almost 30, and apparently she doesn't have to.
I smell a burrito and I gained 6 pounds.
Yeah, guilty.
Guilty.
But, you know, more power to her. So she's acting like a personal trainer because Michael's a personal trainer. So now Jasmine is like, you know what? I'm going to show you what to do.
And Michael's loving it because she clearly doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, you know, she's having fun. She doesn't take herself too seriously. She's trying to show Michael how it's done. Clearly, she doesn't know, so it's fun.
But Jasmina's gym is not about exercising necessarily. It's about them connecting.
Communication. It's the most important exercise. And they sit down to do this final exercise. It's a stretch where they're holding each other's hands, and it gets real here because Jasmina brings up Michael's past and wants him to open up about it. And she asks, what was it? Tell me your story. Tell me what it was like losing your brother, your mother, your father. Share your past with me. And I was not ready for this story. I was not ready to cry watching Married at First Sight.
It was sad. It got
Yet
sad.
here we are. Yeah. Long story short, because I don't want to cry again. Michael's brother, Vladimir, the good Vladimir, used to work late nights at a fast food restaurant. He would come home all the time, very early in the morning, 3 a.m, and he would bring food for them.
I love, not to jump in, but I love how you said early in the morning, 3 a.m. I would say late at night, 3 a.m.
Okay, well, because that's the kind of party girl you are.
Oh, yeah.
So he would always come. Vladimir would always come and bring food with him after his shift.
He knocked the door.
He would knock on the door and bring the food. And one night there was a knock on the door, and they opened it up, and it wasn't Vladimir. It was his brother's friend, and his brother's friend just said, Vladimir got shot. Vladimir got shot. And Michael's telling this story, and he's breaking down. And it's incredibly sad. He says his mom fainted, and his aunt just took him out of the room. And he goes, that was the first experience I had with grief, and it changed me from that young age. And ever since then, every few years, I had to deal with more loss.
Yeah, that's very sad.
It's incredibly sad. I can't wrap my head around losing one person in a circumstance like that, let alone it sounded like every few years, it was just shock after shock after shock of losing another person so close to you.
Yeah, it definitely messed him up.
Yeah.
Because at this young age, the way you understand something, and not to compare because it's not a comparison at all, right? But let's say my grandma passed away when I was 9, but my grandma was just like 59 or 60. So for me,
young.
I was like, exactly, it's young. In my head, I was like, she was so old, right? She was so old. And so getting older and realizing that, wait a minute, no, she wasn't old at all. She passed very young, but that was my understanding of death. When you hear about like my grandfather died when he was 56, right?
Young again.
Very. But for me, I was like, that's so old. So growing up thinking, okay, you're probably going to die when you're like 50 something, right? But when I got older and I started understanding, I got really sad looking back because I was like, wait a minute. No, they weren't old at all. There was the issues they had, right?
Yeah.
And it still makes me feel very sad. But at that age, I didn't understand. And for a long time, I felt like that's the normal. So for Michael losing his brother this young and then keep losing more people, I almost felt like maybe it became a normal for him. But when he got older, he started understanding it. You know what I'm saying?
I think for you, you were young and you thought it was old. So for you, I don't know that it had the same impact. You thought, a 60-year-old is so old.
Yeah, but you're young. You don't fully understand. You just kind of
Right, but so I'm saying I don't mean to take away from your experience. I don't think it affected you the same way as if you actually thought that it was, or if you knew it was how young it truly was. I think it would have impacted you even more if you knew how young 59 was.
I guess. I think it impacts me looking back.
Right.
That I didn't
Okay.
understand.
Almost a retroactive.
Yeah. But I'm saying,
impact.
like, for him, he said, I was a little kid. This is the first time I experienced grief, and it kept coming, right? He kept losing more and more people. But at this young age, did he fully understand that his brother was shot, that it wasn't his fault, that someone did it to him?
Yeah.
Right? But I'm saying, like, being older, growing, looking back at those things, it's gonna hit you harder.
Right.
Because
Right. Okay.
when that happened, you did not fully understand.
I get what you're saying. You had the experience as a kid.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have a whole new understanding and experience as an adult looking back on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, thank you for clarifying because, yeah, I agree with you. And it's what Steve was talking about, that vulnerability, him opening up. It brought Jasmina and Michael together. It brought them closer because Jasmina tells the camera, hearing this helps me understand him more. And Michael cried. He let out a good cry and he said it felt good to cry. It felt good to be vulnerable.
No, I loved it. I hope that helped them, especially Michael, to open up a little more, and it helped Jasmina to realize that he can be vulnerable.
Yeah. You got it.
Vulnerable.
You got it.
Vulnerable.
You got it. Let's not waste any more time because we're running long here. We have Noy and Steve to get through quickly, and then we'll finish in ultimate douchebag mode. Noy and Steve, they're having a picnic. It's their 3-week anniversary, and so Steve whipped up a beach picnic.
He was mimicking their picnic at the honeymoon.
Yeah, he was mimicking their 3rd day picnic on the honeymoon. Now it's the 3-week picnic. He didn't almost kill his wife with a champagne cork the first time around. This time he almost knocked her out, but she survived, which is good because they start talking about their time together and their favorite memories, and they both kind of agree that the waterfall was a great experience. And so Steve lays it all out there and he says, you know, our first picnic was 3 days in. And you told me you loved me, and I didn't say it back. But this picnic is 3 weeks in, and I'm finally ready to let you know I love you.
I mean, well played, Steve.
Pretty smooth,
Well
Steve.
played.
Pretty smooth for a van guy.
I hope he means it.
I know. Or did he feel the pressure? Did he feel the timing, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of people do that. Oh, this is just the perfect scenario, so let me do it. Like a lot of people, I'm sure, proposed on New Year's Eve when they weren't ready to because in their mind, this is the perfect night to do it. Even though maybe it's going to take me a few more months to really feel ready for it, I'm going to do it tonight because there's fireworks and champagne.
Like Michael Scott when he proposed at the Indian celebration.
Oh, yeah. And then he ends that episode with a fantastic song, his own rendition of the Hanukkah song, made famous by Adam Sandler. No, Teresa, how did
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you kidding me?
I know.
Anyway, I'm not
No,
going to
no.
sing it.
I know exactly what you mean. It was fabulous.
I'm not going to sing it. Let's round this thing out, okay? With something else that's round, an ass, because that's what Elijah is. Katina and Elijah, here we go. They are at a cooking class, which if your spidey senses aren't going up already, if those red flags aren't flying already, then you haven't been watching this season.
But it was an interesting cooking class because the chef was cooking most of it. They kind of poked at things.
When those final dishes came out, I was like, there's no way they plated those dishes because that was professional level plating.
But Elijah one was like, well, Katina has been saying that she wants to learn how to cook salmon. So here we go.
Salmon. Did you hear how he said it? Oh, Katina loves seafood. She loves salmon.
Well, he was making sure that he doesn't pronounce the L.
Salmon. Yeah.
I used to pronounce the L.
We got Bernie Sanders over here. I don't know. Katina was married to Bernie Sanders.
I mean, I wish he was.
Yeah, me too. So I'm sure she does too. So, okay, she's going to learn how to cook salmon. And Katina doesn't love it. She made it very clear she doesn't love cooking. but she's at least happy that, unlike the floor, Elijah's going halves with her on this cooking experience, and he's going to learn with her.
So they start with this shrimp cocktail, and Elijah was loving it. He's like, well, this is the kind of food like I'm expecting. It's like, dude, like you expect Katina to make you shrimp cocktail before dinner?
He does. He does. He goes, you cook like this, you'll have 3 rings on your finger. It is a circus. This is a 3-ring circus, Elijah, and you are leading this thing. So that checks out.
And then, yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, they jump into this conversation, like what he expects from a marriage.
Yeah. And here's what I'll say. I'll set it up. I'm kind of surprised Katina is actually this into Elijah. Like, what is it? And we can't even say, oh, the sex is that good, because they're not having
There's
sex.
no sex, yeah.
So what is it that she's putting up with this and dealing with this? Because this is inexcusable. I mean, okay. After all of this effort, after all she's gone through and put up with, Elijah goes, I still don't know if she's enough woman for me.
I would slap him right away.
Absolutely. I would slap him. Because it's all me, me, me. I need to be satisfied. I need you to do this. Well, what does your beautiful and loving wife need from you?
Yeah, no, it's definitely all about him. He's like, well, I bought a home. I paid off my student loans. It's like, okay, well, good for you.
Yeah.
But why are you even bringing this up? You're saying because, let's say, Katina has some student loans that she's not good enough?
Yeah.
Like, I did pay off my student loans too. Well, I'm proud of it. I worked hard for it. But would I give someone else shit who didn't in my age? Absolutely not.
No, you should be proud and
Absolutely
impressed that
not.
they went to school and they're
Of
paying
course.
their way through school.
Of course.
Sorry it's taking longer for her to do it than it took you to do. I mean, is this whole thing a test? Are like we being Truman showed? Remember when they were in the gym on the honeymoon and he's like, "Oh, it's all a test. I want to see if she'll say no."
Yeah.
Is this all a test? Is he trying to push her buttons and get her to say no and she's not saying no? Because she's not saying no for some weird reason.
Okay, guys, I don't know if the term psychopath is proper because I'm not a psychologist, but from what I know about psychopaths, because we watch a lot of Dateline, right? Well, I can see him being like absolutely crazy. Like,
Well,
he scares me.
what
His
makes-
way of thinking scares me.
Is it when he said she put effort into my housewarming party?
Oh my God.
But she
He
could
did
have-
say- I was
but she
gonna
could have done
ask you-
more?
I was going to ask you, wait a minute, did I hear it wrong? Or did he say my housewarming party?
That's psychopath behavior right there.
I literally wrote it down with an exclamation mark. I mean, question mark saying, well,
Well, I wrote it down with an exclamation mark.
Look at you.
And it was my
I can't
housewarming.
believe he said it.
It is so narcissistic,
So-
which is part
Narcissist.
of psychopathic behavior is the narcissistic element. He's checking all the boxes here.
I'm surprised. I mean, who's DP? Is she a psychologist?
She plays one on TV.
Because there need to be a psychologist involved in all this.
There needs to be a mediator involved. There needs to be a therapist involved. There needs to be a lot.
Like, if I was Katina, I would literally put the ring on the table and leave.
I feel so
And
bad.
never come back.
I feel so bad. Like, does she think she deserves this? Does she think she deserves this behavior?
I feel bad too because I like Katina. I think she, besides her being gorgeous, I think she's a nice girl. She does not deserve this at all.
The language is mind-boggling. That I don't think it's a joke. I don't think it's a test. But it's the only thing that makes any sense. Like, oh, I'm talking about wife level. Like I need to see where you are as a woman. Who talks like this?
And then he said, well, I need to keep you grounded, Katina. What?
Yeah.
I need to keep you grounded. It's absolutely scary.
It's terrifying behavior. I mean, it seems like she is going out of her way. She's trying. She's going to the supermarket. She's getting the food. She's trying. She's taking these cooking classes. What has Elijah done besides shave his mohawk? That's the only thing he's done for her.
And here we go. Tina's crying.
Yeah, she needs to leave. I mean,
Like, leave for good.
unless it's the opposite of apparently every other couple, and maybe he's an angel when the cameras aren't there.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. What are you doing, Katina? You could do so much better. And I get it. These are arranged marriages.
Yeah.
But clearly the experts aren't perfect.
Maybe they played well for the TV, but she better say no on decision
This
day.
is verbal abuse, mental abuse, and it could very easily, and I don't say this lightly, it could very easily transition into physical abuse.
No, not only that she needs to say no, she needs to say no right now to him to stop being an asshole, but the experts need to interfere.
Yeah.
They need to sit them down and talk about it because this is horrible.
We need to see what happens next episode
yeah.
because something needs to change. This is unacceptable behavior.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that takes us to the end of the podcast. It was all fun.
5 hours later.
Pretty close. It was all fun until that segment, but you got to talk about it, guys. So we hope you enjoyed the episode. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening. Thank you for following us on Instagram at Married to Reality Pod. Thank you for following the podcast wherever you do listen. If you're not following, it's so easy to follow. Easier than saying it's easy to follow. All you got to do is look down and smash that follow button.
Guys, smash the like is as hot as Katina because she deserves some love.
Absolutely. Thank you guys again for the reviews. If you haven't left one, please do. We're going to remind you, we're covering Below Deck now. So if you watch that show or if you're curious about it, listen to that pod.
Spread the love.
It drops on Wednesdays. Spread the love.
I love that you make mistakes too.
Yeah, I can't talk anymore. So let's just wrap it up. I've said it all. Have you said it all?
I've said too much.
Say vulnerable again.
Vulnerable.
No.
Say it.
Vulnerable?
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. You're being you're living your truth right now. You're being vulnerable right
very
now.
vulnerable.
No. How swollen is your tongue? How drunk are you?
Well, based on vulnerable, very.
Not drunk enough. One more time for the friends listening. Vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
No, I really want to end on a high note.
I know, me too.
Vulnerable. Just throw it away. Throw it away. Don't even like.
Vulnerable.
One more time. Just throw it away. Don't even think about it.
Vulnerable.
You said it. I've said it. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.